Most people think aging after 40 is inevitable. The fatigue, the slower recovery, the mental fog. What the research actually shows is that a significant portion of what we call aging is cellular damage, and cellular damage responds to what you eat. I'm Megan Corvale. Today we are going through 12 specific foods that research links to slower biological aging. Not cosmetic fixes, but compounds that work at the level of your DNA, your mitochondria, and your inflammatory pathways. 12 foods. The last one surprises almost everyone. Let's go. Food 12. Sardines. Sardines are probably the most nutritionally complete anti-aging food you can buy, and almost nobody is eating them. The aging mechanism most directly targeted is mitochondrial decline. After 40, mitochondria become less efficient, produce more oxidative byproducts, and replicate with more errors. This is one of the primary drivers of the fatigue and slower recovery people associate with getting older. Sardines are one of the richest dietary sources of coenzyme Q10, an essential component of the process by which mitochondria generate energy. CoQ10 levels decline significantly after 40, and dietary sources become increasingly important as the body's own synthesis slows. They also deliver omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, in their most bioavailable form, which directly suppress the chronic low-grade inflammation, now called inflammaging, that researchers recognize as a primary accelerant of biological aging. Beyond this, sardines provide vitamin D3, vitamin B12, selenium, and complete protein in a single serving. Being small, short-lived fish, they also accumulate virtually no mercury, making them safe to eat multiple times per week. Pro tip: buy sardines packed in water or extra virgin olive oil. Eat them bones and all. The soft bones deliver bioavailable calcium and collagen precursors. If the flavor is a barrier, incorporate them into pasta sauces or salad dressings, where they dissolve into background flavor, rather than presenting whole. Food 11. Pomegranate. Pomegranate earns its place through a compound called urolithin A, and the mechanism is one of the most exciting areas of aging research of the last decade. Urolithin A is produced by gut bacteria when they metabolize polyphenols found in pomegranate. What it does is activate mitophagy, the selective clearance of damaged mitochondria. After 40, this cellular quality control process slows significantly, allowing defective mitochondria to accumulate and drive oxidative stress throughout the body. Clinical trials published in Nature Metabolism found that urolithin A improved mitochondrial function, increased muscle endurance, and reduced inflammatory markers in older adults. Pomegranate is the richest dietary source of the precursor compounds that generate it. Pro tip: choose whole seeds or unsweetened cold-pressed juice rather than juice from concentrate, which retains a fraction of the polyphenol activity. Note that urolithin A production depends on specific gut bacteria. Roughly 30 to 40% of people lack the microbiome profile to produce it efficiently, in which case, urolithin A supplements with direct clinical evidence are available. Food 10. Dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, rocket, Swiss chard. This category targets two critical aging mechanisms simultaneously: telomere preservation and epigenetic methylation. Telomeres are the protective caps on your chromosomes that shorten every time a cell divides. When they become critically short, cells enter senescence. They stop dividing and begin secreting inflammatory compounds that damage surrounding tissue. Dark leafy greens are among the richest sources of folate, which is essential for the DNA synthesis and repair that maintains telomere length. Adequate folate status is strongly associated with slower telomere shortening in population studies. These greens also deliver lutein and zeaxanthin for eye protection, vitamin K1 for bone density, and dietary nitrates that convert to nitric oxide and support arterial health. Pro tip: eat both raw and lightly cooked. Raw preserves folate, which heat destroys. Lightly cooking increases the bioavailability of fat-soluble carotenoids. Always pair cooked greens with olive oil to maximize carotenoid absorption. Food 9. Extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is one of the most studied longevity foods on Earth, and its primary anti-aging mechanism runs through a compound called oleocanthal. Oleocanthal inhibits the same inflammatory enzymes, COX-1 and COX-2, that ibuprofen inhibits. The throat burn you feel from high-quality extra virgin olive oil is oleocanthal activating the same receptors, and it is a reliable quality marker. The stronger the burn, the higher the oleocanthal content. Chronic low-grade inflammation drives virtually every major age-related disease, and a daily dietary source of a potent natural anti-inflammatory that simultaneously helps absorb fat-soluble nutrients from everything you eat alongside it is difficult to replicate through any other single food. Extra virgin olive oil also activates SIRT1, one of the sirtuins that regulate DNA repair and mitochondrial biogenesis, through its minor polyphenols, partially mimicking the longevity pathways associated with caloric restriction. Pro tip: use it as a finishing oil where possible, drizzled over food after cooking. To preserve oleocanthal, which degrades with heat, store in dark glass away from light and heat and use within 3 to 4 months of opening. Food 8. Blueberries. Blueberries have one of the most well-documented effects on brain aging of any food studied. The mechanism is anthocyanins, the pigments that give blueberries their color. Anthocyanins cross the blood-brain barrier and accumulate in the hippocampus, where they activate BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that promotes neuron survival and supports neuroplasticity. BDNF declines significantly with age, and low levels are associated with accelerated cognitive decline. They also inhibit neuroinflammation, which is now understood as a primary driver of neurodegenerative disease. A randomized controlled trial found that older adults with early memory decline who consume blueberry juice daily for 12 weeks showed significant improvements in learning and word list recall compared to a placebo group. Pro tip: do not eat blueberries with dairy. Milk proteins bind to anthocyanins and reduce their absorption by approximately 30%. Eat them alone or paired with non-dairy foods to preserve the full benefit. Food 7. Fermented foods, kefir, plain yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, miso. This category targets aging through the gut microbiome axis, a relationship that research over the last decade has fundamentally reshaped our understanding of how we age. After 40, beneficial gut bacteria decline, inflammatory species increase, and gut barrier integrity weakens, allowing bacterial products to enter systemic circulation and drive the chronic inflammation that accelerates aging across every tissue. A landmark Stanford study published in Cell found that a high fermented food diet increased microbiome diversity and measurably reduced 19 inflammatory protein markers in circulation, including key drivers of inflammaging. Fermented foods also support the production of butyrate and other short-chain fatty acids that maintain gut barrier integrity, regulate immune function, and directly suppress cellular senescence pathways. Pro tip: diversity matters more than volume. Rotating 5 different fermented foods across the week produces stronger microbiome benefits than large quantities of one. Add fermented foods to dishes after cooking. Heat destroys live cultures. Food 6. Green tea. Green tea contains one of the most comprehensively studied anti-aging compounds in nutritional science, EGCG. EGCG inhibits mTOR, a central regulator of cell growth and aging. Overactivation of mTOR is associated with accelerated aging and age-related disease, and pharmaceutical mTOR inhibitors are among the most reliably life-extending interventions identified in animal research. EGCG provides a dietary partial inhibition of the same pathway. It also activates AMPK, the cellular energy sensor that promotes autophagy and the removal of damaged cellular components, and crosses the blood-brain barrier, where it reduces neuroinflammation and supports cognitive function. A major Japanese study following over 40,000 adults found that consuming 5 or more cups of green tea daily was associated with a 26% lower risk of cardiovascular death in women over an 11-year follow-up. Pro tip: brew at 70 to 80 degrees rather than boiling water, which degrades catechins. Add a squeeze of lemon. It protects EGCG from digestive degradation and meaningfully increases absorption. Avoid combining with milk for the same reason as blueberries. Food 5. Avocado. Avocado's anti-aging profile centers on 3 mechanisms: glutathione support, mitochondrial membrane integrity, and nutrient amplification across the whole meal. Avocado is one of the richest whole food sources of glutathione, your body's master antioxidant, and the precursors that support its ongoing synthesis. Glutathione cannot be effectively absorbed from supplements. Dietary sources are the most reliable way to maintain cellular levels, which decline steadily after 40. Its high monounsaturated fat content also supports mitochondrial membrane stability, reducing the lipid peroxidation that is one of the earliest events in mitochondrial dysfunction. The nutrient amplification effect is significant and underappreciated. Research has shown that adding avocado to a salad increases the absorption of carotenoids from the other vegetables by 3 to 5 times. The fat solubilizes fat-soluble compounds from surrounding foods, making avocado a nutrient multiplier across the entire plate. Pro tip: eat avocado with other vegetables specifically to amplify their fat-soluble nutrient delivery. It is doing more for the rest of your meal than it is doing alone. Food 4. Walnuts. Walnuts are the only tree nut with a significant omega-3 content, and they address something most other foods on this list do not target directly: brain structural support. The brain is approximately 60% fat by dry weight. The specific fats in neuronal membranes determine how efficiently neurons communicate and how vulnerable brain tissue is to inflammatory damage. Walnuts deliver alpha-linolenic acid alongside polyphenols, melatonin, and vitamin E in the gamma-tocopherol form, together addressing neuroinflammation through multiple pathways. The WAHA trial, a randomized controlled study published in a Clinical Medicine, found that 2 years of daily walnut consumption in older adults significantly reduced inflammatory markers and, in a subgroup analysis, measurably slowed cognitive decline in participants who started with below-average cognitive performance. Walnuts also contain L-glutanins that gut bacteria convert to urolithin A, providing the same mitophagy activation pathway as pomegranate through a different dietary vehicle. Pro tip: store walnuts in the refrigerator or freezer. Their high polyunsaturated fat content makes them vulnerable to oxidation at room temperature. A daily handful of around 28 to 30 grams is the amount used in most positive clinical studies. Food 3. Beetroot. Beetroot targets aging through a mechanism unique among foods, restoring nitric oxide availability through a pathway that bypasses the age-related enzyme decline. Nitric oxide is produced by the endothelium to dilate blood vessels, reduce blood pressure, and support tissue oxygenation and repair. After 40, nitric oxide synthase, the enzyme that makes it, declines significantly, contributing to arterial stiffening and reduced tissue oxygenation. Dietary nitrates from beetroot provide an alternative route. Oral bacteria convert nitrate to nitrite, which is then converted to nitric oxide throughout the body, including in tissues where the enzyme can no longer produce adequate amounts. This essentially bypasses the age-related decline and restores nitric oxide availability through a back door. Research has shown beetroot juice measurably reduces resting blood pressure, improves exercise efficiency, and accelerates muscle recovery. A study found recreational runners who consumed beetroot before a 5-kilometer run improved their time by 3% purely through improved oxygen utilization. Pro tip: never use antibacterial mouthwash before consuming beetroot or any dietary nitrate source. The conversion depends on oral bacteria. One use of antibacterial mouthwash has been shown to reduce the blood pressure benefit of dietary nitrate by over 90%. Food 2, turmeric with black pepper. Turmeric is one of the most studied anti-inflammatory foods on Earth, but it comes with a bioavailability problem that determines whether it actually works in your body or is essentially inert. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has demonstrated potent anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective effects across decades of research. The clinical translation has been inconsistent for one reason: absorption. In isolation, the vast majority of curcumin passes through the digestive tract without reaching systemic circulation at meaningful concentrations. Piperine, the active compound in black pepper, inhibits the enzyme that metabolizes curcumin in the gut, increasing bioavailability by approximately 2,000%. A pinch of black pepper transforms curcumin from a poorly absorbed compound into a systemically active one. At adequate bioavailability, curcumin inhibits NF-κB, the master regulator of the inflammatory response, activates the body's endogenous antioxidant systems, and crosses the blood-brain barrier, where research has shown it reduces amyloid aggregation and promotes neurogenesis. A randomized controlled trial published in the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry found that bioavailable curcumin twice daily significantly improved memory and attention in non-demented adults over 50 compared to placebo. Pro tip: always combine turmeric with black pepper and a fat source. Curcumin is fat-soluble. Cooking it in olive oil with freshly ground black pepper delivers the combination of fat, piperine, and heat that produces maximum bioavailability. Food 1, wild salmon. Wild salmon is number 1 because it simultaneously targets 4 of the most fundamental mechanisms of biological aging: mitochondrial decline, telomere shortening, neuroinflammation, and oxidative stress. The primary anti-aging compound, beyond its omega-3 content, is astaxanthin, the carotenoid that gives salmon its distinctive pink color. Astaxanthin is the most potent antioxidant compound identified in nature on a molecule-for-molecule basis, approximately 6,000 times more potent than vitamin C and 550 times more potent than vitamin E in neutralizing the reactive oxygen species most directly associated with cellular aging. Unlike most antioxidants, it spans the full width of the cell membrane, simultaneously active on both the interior and exterior surface, and crosses both the blood-brain barrier and the blood-retinal barrier, delivering protection directly to the 2 most metabolically active and oxidatively stressed tissues in the body. On telomeres, a study published in JAMA found that in patients with coronary artery disease, higher blood omega-3 levels were associated with significantly slower telomere shortening over 5 years. Wild salmon also delivers the highest natural food concentration of vitamin D3, complete protein with the branched-chain amino acids essential for maintaining muscle mass after 40, and selenium levels that meaningfully support glutathione activity. The distinction between wild and farmed matters. Wild salmon, and particularly sockeye and coho, feed on krill and small crustaceans naturally rich in astaxanthin, producing concentrations 3 to 4 times higher than farmed, salmon-fed synthetic alternatives. The omega-3 to omega-6 ratio in wild salmon is also significantly more favorable. Pro tip: cook at low temperatures, below 140 degrees Celsius, rather than frying at high heat, which oxidizes the omega-3 fats and degrades astaxanthin. If fresh wild salmon is cost prohibitive, canned sockeye is an excellent alternative. It retains astaxanthin and omega-3 content at a fraction of the price. Here is what I want you to carry away from this. Biological aging is not a single process. It is a convergence of mechanisms: mitochondrial decline, telomere shortening, inflammaging, microbiome degradation, and oxidative accumulation. Each food on this list targets one or more of those mechanisms through a specific, researched pathway. You do not need to eat all 12 every day. Shift the overall composition of your diet toward foods that are actively working for your biology. Even 5 or 6 of these consistently over months and years produces compounding benefits at the cellular level that show up as better energy, sharper cognition, and a body that recovers faster and functions longer. I'm Megan Corvale. I'll see you in the next one.